A man. A plan. Jokulhaups. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and today we are going to be revisiting a fan favorite, Jokulhaups. Thank you to Plum Wizard for enabling my BS once again. So the legend goes that once upon a time, maybe about 2 years ago, we kind of played Jokulhaups as a meme, and I instantly 5-0'd with it, and the video kind of went crazy on YouTube, and we've been riding that high ever since. But unfortunately, the last 2 times that we tried out Jokulhaups, it's just proven too slow for the format. But this time will be different. Maybe. Let's find out. So the core of this deck isn't really going to change. It is very much a traditional red prison build rather than a Moon Stompy build. We are trying to grind whatever our opponent is doing to an absolute halt, either with things that counter their spells or otherwise make it relatively difficult for them to cast them. Blood Sun is a little different than Blood Moon. One of the biggest upsides for us specifically in this deck is that our City of Traders are going to lose this top ability so that we can continue to play lands after City of Traders. And I don't know, that maybe matters if you want to cast some 6-drops in your deck. So, why Jokulhaups? It destroys all artifacts, creatures, and lands, and they can't be regenerated, in case you want to regenerate your land or something. But specifically, this does not destroy planeswalkers. So the goal here is to put a planeswalker into play and then cast Jokulhaups afterwards. And presumably, if you start the game over and you have a planeswalker in play and your opponent doesn't, you probably win that game most of the time. We are going to need some amount of removal to get out of these early turns and protect our planeswalkers until we can cast the Jokulhaups. Getting to 6 mana isn't as hard as you think, because if you can get to 4 mana for Chandra, Chandra can just plus for those remaining 2 that you need for the Jokulhaups the following turn. The core of this deck is the same as a build I played about a year ago. I've gotten a little saucier with some of the Karn targets. I'm just going to accept the fact that, Null Rod is slightly awkward with a couple of the things that are in the deck, and just put one in the board anyway. I think having some number of things that specifically target artifacts is a pretty big deal in Legacy right now. And I'm going to try out one Canoptic Scarab Swarm. I wanted something that I could tutor off of Karn that could just be a body, like a way to win the game. And my mind first went to something like Wormcoil Engine, and I was like, what can we do that's cheaper that I can still just do on 4 mana? And the Scarab Swarm was something that came to mind, and it's going to have the random upside of messing with Uros, Murktides, Griefs, Reanimate nonsense, all that jazz that's relatively popular in Legacy right now. So with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and hop into the matches directly. Should you need a set of Jokulhaups or anything else, check out toamagic.com and use promo code ThrabenU to let them know that I sent you and save 5% on your order. Tales Adventure is awesome. They support streamers and YouTubers such as myself, and they have some awesome perks, like free shipping, and 95% of standard stuff in stock at any given time. That's pretty good. Let's battle. All right, we are keeping a reasonable opening hand here. We haven't... You know what? We have some cards. My opponent can decide what cards we have. I have lost the Ensnaring Bridge. That's not surprising. And then we'll see what happens afterwards if my opponent reanimates. Because the Fury is the thing that kills the Grief, but that's a 2-for-1. Okay, yeah. That is not overly surprising to me. I think this turn kind of plays itself. We're going to Fury, pitch the Jokulhaups, kill the Grief. This Grief was just absolutely insane. It got 4 cards. Red card, Fury, Ensnaring Bridge, and Blood Sun. The hope is that I just resolve this Planeswalker and everything is fantastic from there. That's not a bad draw. I don't think I get to play around stuff. Daze is a thing here. We're in play. Let's not get excited yet, though. I will not cast Trinisphere. I'm expecting Bowmaster ping attack for 2. I think I'm going to get a Chandra at 3 loyalty. Oh, no. But no desire to brainstorm in response to my Planeswalker? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark? That feels very strange to me. I feel like I recognize this player's name, though. I see. Finishing the thought, so they probably have a reason for doing what they are doing. And now we see the downside of playing with a bunch of stuff that has a higher than normal converted mana cost average. If we are playing Moon Stompy, almost all of our stuff stops at 3, so I just have the ability to cast all of the stuff that's in my hand. And I'm potentially just going to lose a City of Traders to make my next impactful play. Sure. So now this Brazen Borrower gets in play, and I'm going to start to take some damage. I can Fury it out of play. That doesn't feel particularly good. I'm at 17. Blood Sun is largely great. Daze is a card that it makes sense for my opponent to have, but I don't really want to play this card around Daze and like just set myself up for a City of Traders loss anyway. Yeah. All right. Also, the City of Traders loses out. Sorry, I forgot where that thought was going. I started thinking about Fury. Fury is going to, in theory, clear all of this stuff out. Or other Fury is going to clear all of this stuff out. I think I just have to clear the board, so I stop taking damage. I'm already at 11. So 1, 1, 1. We'll put the 2 here in case another Bowmaster gets involved. Not having access to the second red pip here to deploy all these cards is absolutely brutal. So there's a Brainstorm. This is very good. My opponent had 1 card that they did not want to play last turn, so they're presumably now going to shuffle their library, have fresh cards. I'm very afraid of some sort of Animate Dead effect. Fucking deck, please. We have drawn all 4 Furies. We have drawn 2 of the 4 Chandras. I have not drawn any red sources this game, other than the ones that I started with. No Surveil Land. Opponent's flooding out. I guess that's good news for me. It's a castable card. I'm not even sure that casting it is good. I expect my opponent's last card might just be another Daze. Like, what else are they not playing? But, you know, if we take the Daze there, then that means it's not hitting this once I draw that red source. Joke's on you, fool. I have another City of Traders. Hey, my opponent doesn't have any cards left. Chromox. Imprint of Fury. Play City of Traders. Play a Planeswalker. +2 a Planeswalker. I will not cast that. You're at 10. Am I gonna win this game? Am I gonna win this game despite everything that has happened so far? Despite losing 4 cards to a Grief all at once? Hey, another Grief. I'm just going to clear that. Just leave the board empty. I don't think I'm going to play this Ancient Tomb immediately. I would not like to lose life to stuff if I can avoid it. Let's plus. I will not cast Chrome Mox. I'll just take the 2 damage here. I'm going to cast this as something to help defend my Planeswalker in case something like End of Turn Orcish Bowmasters happens. Ah, the Force of Will on Simian Spirit Guide. A classic Legacy line. We have dodged again. I literally don't believe it. Let's keep plussing. I will not cast Ancient Tomb. I think I keep this as a removal spell. Reanimate on Atraxa is no longer live. I'm going to continue to plus this. At some point, I want to think about, like, getting more mana. That is worth casting. Anyway, I want to think about putting more lands into play, because I, in theory, want to be able to Chandra plus and hit. Orcish Bowmasters is fine. Anyway, I want to be able to Chandra plus at 6 mana and hit Jokulhaups is the remainder of that thought. We're going to go down to 2 loyalty. I still survive another turn of Bowmaster attacks with it. Ooh, there's white in there, which probably indicates pest control. Let's go up to 4 here. Plus. That's exactly what I'm talking about. I can't do that one here. Opponent is at 4. Opponent's just opting to swamp cycle that. Fails to find a swamp. There's an enemy dead on an Atraxa, which is definitely a little scary. Brazen Borrower is insane here. You can get like Brazen Borrower, Force of Will, Ponder, and Wasteland as well. Yeah. We got Brazen Borrower, Force of Will, Ponder. I am getting attacked, not my Planeswalker, which I guess is fair. If I Chalice on 2, my opponent can respond with Petty Theft, bounce Bridge, and that doesn't get me to where I need to be. Does this hit a fetchable thing? My opponent does not have another swamp, so there's not another Underground Sea. Is there another island? Or like a Tundra that this gets? Like, does my opponent have 5 mana for lethal next turn? Is kind of my question. I guess I'm going to play this. I could minus. I don't know that I'm winning if I minus, though. I think I'm going to go for the plus. I will not cast a Chalice. Go ahead and attempt this on 1. It's in play. I'm going to pass the turn. Petty Theft on Bridge happens. Saw that coming. Is there a thing to turn this into lethal? There's not. Now, there's still Force of Will Ponder here. So we are not out of it. I imagine I lose my Planeswalker while taking 2. Nope. Holy shit. I think my opponent is going to lose because they left me with this Planeswalker. Right? I just plus for mana. I can cast both of these Ensnaring Bridges. And then go down to 0 cards in hand. Mana. Ensnaring Bridge. Alright, there goes Force of Will. Take a card out of hand. Show me Force of Will as your last card. Alright, they did. Solid play. I lose anyway. So, Ensnaring Bridge is probably the most important card for me here. And the question becomes, like, how am I beating early creatures that get into play like Grief? And then how am I stopping losses to Brazen Borrower? Chalice on 2 is a thing that I could do. The issue with playing Leyline of the Void is that sometimes it gets stuck in hand for Ensnaring Bridge. I can Chrome Mox it, or I can Chandra Heart of Fire to discard my own hand. Those are ways that I can get rid of that stuff. Don't know that that's enough. I don't know that Chalice of the Void does all that much. I might just board in something else that can kill small, like Orcish Bowmaster tokens and Griefs, and go down a couple of Chalices. This is fine if I don't get Wastelanded. And it's somewhat... I mean, it's quite weak if I just eat a Wasteland on this red source. Classic. Alright, never didn't have it. Wasn't worried for a minute. Okay, so now I lose my Ensnaring Bridge, which is a pain in the butt. Alternatively, I could lose the Trinisphere if they are set up to counter the bridge later. Yeah, so I lost the Trinisphere. My Ensnaring Bridge might just eat a Daze or something immediately. So, let's play around Daze at the very least. I think I'm going to imprint this one. I'm going to imprint a Fury. We've got Daze covered. This is in play. Bounce spells exist. So we can't sit here just thinking that we are fully safe. This nonsense can happen. More Entomb. You got it. So now my opponent gets 10 looks at Brazen Borrower, and they did indeed find it. Brazen Borrower, Force of Will, Wasteland, Reanimate. There's the pest control that I predicted earlier. So, do I want to continue to take cards out of my hand here? Playing the Fury is super weird because it costs me 4 life to put this into play. And it can't attack through the Atraxa, so I think I'm just going to make no play here. Like, if I put the thing into play, it also just, like, potentially eats Archon, which is not the greatest. So I imagine it's bounce attack for 7. Yep. And this is going to get forced on the way down. Gives my opponent a lot more life to work with as well. I'm just dead if they have a blue card. So show me your blue card. All right. With that, we will concede. We are dead on board. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, and honestly, they're just the best at what they do. If you need to keep your deck lists online, this is the way to do it. They have all sorts of different viewing options. You can condense that text if you like things to be tight. You can make them visual grids. You can put them in stacks. You've got all sorts of different ways to kind of view and visualize your deck lists, and they also have some really cool functionality, like allowing you to see playtest hands and even fully playtest your decks. So check them out. This opening hand has no plan to win the game or really lock the opponent out. I don't really consider Chalice of the Void alone enough to make a keepable hand. On the draw? How much of my deck is mana? 21 lands plus 4 Chrome Mox, 25. So about half of the time on a draw, I am going to hit a land, get 2 draws. It doesn't have to be a colored land either. It's any land. I think this is a sketchy keep. That's a scary land. That often means Reanimator. And is great. And start on Chalice on 1, and then play a hate piece of our choice that makes sense after that. No immediate Entomb response. That's good for me. Are we just going to cycle a troll? Not exactly. So what are we playing against? It could be a mid-range deck. It could be like a Witherbloom Apprentice Chain of Smog combo deck list. Storm? Just put Chalice of the Void on the wrong number. My opponent now has stopped and is just sitting there. So I'm not sure exactly what that means. Yeah, it's potentially good news for me. Infernal Tutor. Can you just make goblins? No, it's for black. So this is a Beseech-based line. Sure. Gets Gaia's Will. So my opponent can Mox Opal and LED. And then that is 4 mana to Beseech again for Tendrils. And as a note here, I am at 18. I am not at 20, although my opponent can deal the full 20 anyway. Needed literally one more turn. So let's start by removing things that are bad. So I don't really need Ensnaring Bridge here. I probably don't need Jokulhaups or Fury. Like, the stuff that's winning me the game is my lock pieces, and then we'll just kind of eventually kill my opponents somehow. Let's assume that I start by cutting these. Like, these still can just reduce my opponent's life total to 0. I'll probably board in Ley Lines. I'll probably board in Null Rod. I think I'm fine just boarding in a Trinisphere. If I get a Karn in play, that already shuts off all the artifact mana. From there, I can board in like a Great Furnace or a Tormod's Crypt or a Sorcerous Spyglass, and they're all kind of mid. Karn coming down and being able to clear out the graveyard on the same turn kind of matters. I think I'm just going to board an extra land. In good news, like, we now know the matchup. We have a lot of powerful cards for the matchup. Turn 1, Chalice on 0. Turn 2, Chalice on 1. I don't mind that at all. I have powerful cards after that for if I draw lands, most notably Karn here. We're going to go ahead and keep this one. So, first turn plays itself. Now, my opponent could Thoughtseize this second Chalice out of the way, and that does slow me down a lot. But we're hoping that this getting into play makes it hard for my opponent to just do a Beseech line. Okay, so we are probably losing the second Chalice here, as it is the most immediate follow-up play. But this card, real rough for Storm. So, okay, and it is the more immediate play that is taken. And now I just need to count on my deck being roughly 50% mana, and draw some lands, and get my way to Karn before my opponent gets to something that answers Chalice of the Void. Oh, well, sure, that'll do too. This was part of the reason why the Chalice on 1 as a follow-up was so important. So, what is this last? Oh, my opponent is straight up just going to vomit all of the artifact mana into play. right now. Sure. It sure would be a shame if something happened to all of that artifact mana. I am just going to go ahead and start sending those things to the Shadow Realm. I know they are currently off. I'm 2 turns away from just latticing my opponent anyway. I am just going to take out the pair of LEDs so that if my opponent finds something that answers a Chalice, they can't just like Infernal Tutor double crack LED, or sorry, answers Karn. They can't just end up with a giant burst of mana. Leyline of the Void, not particularly good here. I could clear my opponent's graveyard. Don't know that that super matters. Let's just go ahead and do this. Plus, deal my opponent some damage. I will not cast City of Traders. Karn plus, take out the other LED. And then next turn, I Chandra plus to get to 6 mana, Mycosynth Lattice my opponent, and that's just that. You may absolutely Thoughtseize me. Alright, Karn minus. Yes. Mycosynth Lattice. Plus for mana. And that's enough for the concession. So the big thing that I have to worry about in this game is just getting killed on turn 1. Or otherwise getting killed very quickly. I think I'm just going to make a tiny adjustment here. Give myself more early plays. While I maybe don't want to mulligan to Leyline of the Void specifically, hands with Leyline on the draw are very good. Fantastic. So here's something to get me to my turn 1. Here's my turn 1 play. Here's my turn 2 follow-up. And sometimes, even if my opponent like takes my Trinisphere, I can just Karn on turn 1 anyway if I draw a colored card. So, what you got over there? I'm hoping that they are just playing out this mana and not that they can just turn 1 around my Leyline. Living Wish? What the fuck? Are you going to Eve me? Yeah. Sure. How much power is this? 6, 10, 15, 20, 27 power. So I can't Karn on turn 1, so I die. I can't Spirit Guide on 1. That's really disappointing. My hand was absolutely batshit insane, and my opponent played a weirdo card that beat me. Alright, we have gotten paired against a Yorion Companion deck. I have a single land here. This is not going to do it. This probably doesn't do it either. I just don't have enough mana. I would like to get to 6. Would I like to keep 4 basic lands and 1 Shatter Skull Smashing? No. Couple lands in Ensnaring Bridge, please. Fuck. No. Oh my god, these hands are so bad. Who built this deck? Who built this deck? So I can keep like 1, 2, essentially 1, 2. I can essentially keep the ability to get to 3 mana once and hope that the deck gets there. I think Soul Land, Ensnaring Bridge, random other card is better than this nonsense against a random Yorion deck. Well, that's not this, but I have land Ensnaring Bridge. I'm going to keep that. So get rid of you, and I think you. And we tried to get to the mana for Ensnaring Bridge, but this is a disaster. Yeah, the hope here was that this is Death and Taxes. Colorless card, classic. And that Ensnaring Bridge can buy me a decent amount of time. We were never going to beat a blue Yorion control deck after mulliganing this many times. We don't want to see Thalia right here. Yep. Okay. I mean, that's a start. To talk about this interaction in case it becomes relevant, because we are playing Ensnaring Bridge, Chrome Mox allows you to exile a non-artifact, non-land card from your hand. You can imprint Karn the Great Creator under Chrome Mox, it just doesn't produce any mana. Sometimes this becomes necessary to get cards out of your hand. I would love to draw Ancient Tomb. Negative. Can't cast Ensnaring Bridge through Thalia. Means that I'm taking a beating here. I will get 1 more turn to draw a land. But this turn hurts. So I am at 11. And I think if I miss this turn, I am effectively dead. I have missed this turn. I take 5, 6, 7, 8 damage, go to 3, and once I play Ensnaring Bridge, even if I hit a land, I still have 2 things in hand, which means that I am dead to these. So I will concede. Mox doesn't get me out of that through Thalia there. We're going to go Chalice the Voids out. Bring Brotherhood's End in. Maybe bring in the additional land. And maybe bring in Sorcerous Spyglass, hit Aether Vial and Wasteland early on. But this is probably not a matchup that we want to play. There's Flicker Wisps and Skyclave Apparitions and Recruiters for them and all sorts of nonsense. So, like, mulligans aside, I think this is a very difficult matchup. All right, so City of Traders, Mox, probably Chandra under it and just Blood Sun immediately. Do this on turn 2. This is a perfectly fine hand. Imprint, yaw, yaw. And this potentially shuts off my opponent's fetch lands. In addition to Wasteland. Heyo! Heyo, Blood Sun. Feels good. So we're just gonna get this going. Don't think I need to like put a Trinisphere into play this turn. I will not cast Brotherhood's End. It feels like I am going to run away with this game very quickly. I don't even know if my opponent plays it out from there. That was a devastating start on my end. No changes to sideboarding. Plan is perfect. Draw better than opponent. They don't cast any spells. I win. Magic as Richard Garfield intended. I don't think I have enough mana here. This is 2 mana, and my hand is full of fat. This is 2 mana. It has a critical card. It has an early removal spell. I can potentially keep this. This also like has a second way to get an Ensnaring Bridge if the first one is answered. I think it's a little sketch. I think I'm going to keep it and get rid of the Trinisphere. I don't want a Trinisphere when I intend on pitch casting a Fury. But I need help from the top of the deck here. All right. What are we doing? Mom, Vial, Thoughtseize, Mom. That makes this more awkward. This becomes the plan for the creatures? Thanks, I hate it. Do I Fury and pitch Jokulhaups instead so that I can have a Blood Sun redraw? I'm very far away from this. I think I do. All right. Get out. But conceptually, the Fury was supposed to kill my opponent's turn 2 and turn 3 plays at the same time. Like do something like take out a Thalia and take out a Stoneforge Mystic in the same card. That's kind of what I wanted that card to do. Now I have very powerful effects, assuming that I can get an Ensnaring Bridge into play. Like if I can get Bridge into play, I can probably assemble a win. But Thalia here is keeping me from casting literally any spells. We're probably eating a Bowmaster at the end of turn here. No. Happy enough with that then. What does that mean my opponent has? Do they just have like removal spells that they're not using? Or are they like playing super defensively with this Thalia? This is almost good. This gives me the ability to get some stuff out of my hand. Opponent's up to 5 lands. Haven't put a Yori into hand yet or anything. Okay, there it goes. Land. Yeah. I'll just keep... Do I want to Fury so that I can put my first Ensnaring Bridge into play? And then if my opponent does not replay Thalia, I just put another one into play. It doesn't kill the Thalia. If I Blood Sun first, I can permanently kill the Thalia. I think I'm starting to get so many cards in hand that I just take this play. Yeah? Yeah. We know. And then at some point, I hope to just draw another red card that I can do Fury things with. I imagine that my opponent will replay the Thalia, like realizing that keeping me from casting spells is OP. That's not too bad. It's a castable card, which matters. The information that I get here is also kind of a big deal. Solitude, Prismatic Ending, sure. So is Wasteland or Caracas better? I'm on triple mountain right now. I have a shit ton of mountains in my deck. I think I am going to shut off the Caracas. Because longer term, Yorian blink bounce nonsense can also happen. My opponent can just use their Prismatic Ending to take out Sorcerer's Spyglass. It's not like Prismatic Ending is likely to get to 3 for taking out Ensnaring Bridge. Alright, so there's the Prismatic Ending. In case you're not familiar with this trick, you cast your that's annoying. You cast your Prismatic Ending for just the white, and then you use a different color to pay for the Thalia tax, so that you effectively get Prismatic Ending for 2 different colors, but not really using the Thalia tax in the way that it is most traditionally used. My opponent took the Karn, so I think while I can get this card out of my hand easily, I'm just going to go ahead and cast a Fury. Take this creature out of play, and then I'll work on getting this second Ensnaring Bridge into play shortly thereafter. That is just objectively a play mistake. You don't need to wasteland until you have drawn your own card and see what your mana requirements are. Solitude is fine. You can take out my creature. Yep, and now the hope is just draw any land so that I can put an Ensnaring Bridge into play. That's worth the life. Yes. So, what is going to get my opponent through multiple Ensnaring Bridges? Probably Lauren plus Caracas. God damn it. That's so frustrating. Alright. Better lucky than good. And now the future prison pieces don't work either. And we knew the cards in my opponent's hand, so that was the top deck. Cast. Lauren. What, 1, 2, Thalia attacks 1. That's all I can do is kill Lauren. I need to kill Lauren and then hit my final Ensnaring Bridge. And I need my opponent to not draw a Wasteland or Rishadan Port style card. That is asking for a lot. Trinisphere will not do it. We are dead. That is an incredibly disappointing loss. Okay, the Chrome Mox in this hand is awkward. Otherwise, this hand is pretty good, so I think I am just going to go ahead and keep this one. Intention is Chalice on 1, Blood Sun on 2, Ensnaring Bridge after that. And I'm going to take some damage from this Ancient Tomb in the short term, because right now I don't know if my Blood Sun is even going to resolve. And we are playing against a blue deck, so things are not guaranteed to resolve. It's cool if they do. Do I want to Chrome Mox a Blood Sun to play a Blood Sun around Daze? I don't think so. Because if I do that and then my opponent just Force of Wills the Blood Sun, it feels very awkward. Okay, we're in play. Karn is a fine pickup. What is my opponent doing? Maybe Rescaminator? This is a lot of mana. I think we go yaw, 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 yaw. And I think I'm just picking up Tormod's Crypt here. That way I have something like end of turn Troll Cycle into Animate Dead covered. Bowmasters, sure. This is fine. I can lose the Karn, but I presumably beat an Orcish Bowmasters. Oh, it's Grixis. That's a lot scarier. Actually, it's kind of a good thing to make this creature better, assuming that my Ensnaring Bridge actually resolves. So I think this is fine. I'm going to get pinged and grow this. Again, that's not super a problem. I think I want to attempt to get rid of a counter spell first. Most discard is covered by Chalice of the Void. Culligan's Command wouldn't be. Classic. So now we just need to beat Bowmasters. There's still something here that puts some tension on cantrips. Yeah. So now let's just top deck something big and impactful right now. Nope. I should have considered holding that land for Jokulhaups purposes. My opponent has to redraw through the stuff that they put back with Brainstorm. Yep. I don't know, maybe I need to keep making the land drops. Notice the impact there of Blood Sun. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. If I play this land, I can play a Jokulhaups if I top deck it without paying life. I think from here I hold any lands. I'm at 4. Well, that is a reasonable Magic the Gathering card. Let's see if it resolves. It does not. I will now need to straight up Jace the Mind Sculptor. I will now need to draw something next turn that beats Orcish Bowmasters. I also have to live in fear of Lightning Bolt just killing me. And my Ancient Tombs are off. Could also be another Bowmaster, I suppose. Brix is fine. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is resolving. Clear the board. I think I don't crack Tormod's Crypt. There's some consideration to thinking about Murktide Regent, but my opponent actively probably has Kulgan's Command and Snapcaster Mage in deck. So holding Tormod's Crypt for that stuff, I think matters more than playing around a potential Murktide. Love to see the shuffle here. This Fury will just kill my opponent in 3 turns. Send it. 15, 12. Do I have 6 mana? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So with 6 mana, I can still play Ensnaring Bridge and Chrome Mox at the same time if I draw them. I think I'm just going to hold this back. Yep, that kills me, unfortunately. We were pretty close to turning this one around, although it doesn't look like the top of my deck was all that great. I don't know that I'm sideboarding here. My Chalices aren't particularly good. My opponent's pretty good at playing things on other numbers. Brotherhood's End isn't bad to kill my opponent's small creatures. I don't know that I'm sideboarding. Brotherhood's End is the only thing that I'm like very actively thinking about. I think I'm just going to try to believe in Jokulhaups and Fury. They're not successfully Jokulhaupsed anybody yet. No time like the present, though, right? Whether or not a Blood Sun resolves on turn 2 is incredibly important to the way this game is going to flow for me. Like, I might be scared enough of Blood Sun just getting countered that I don't even shove Blood Sun on turn 2. But it's such a tempo hit if I don't go for it. I think I'm going to go for it. I don't think this is a good matchup. We do get Force of Willed. The issue is if I wait, my opponent A has more time to respond to what I've got going on. B, like their Bowmaster gets better. But like now I potentially just lose this City of Traders in a very awkward way. I think I'm going to try to give myself another turn or 2 to go and find another Blood Sun before I just naturally get rid of my City of Traders. Like, even against this deck, which is a very slow deck, oh, that's not bad. The tempo matters a lot. And delaying lock pieces feels pretty bad. I think I don't minus on Strix. I think I just plus and deal some damage to my opponent. And now if Bowmasters comes down, this is at 4, and then it gets attacked to 3, it's still alive, and then I can try to do some cool stuff next turn. Something's happening. I can attempt the fabled Jokulhaups next turn. A command, or what was the other mode? Oh, destroy target artifact and 2 damage to my planeswalker. Yeah, that's fine. Lightning Bolt is not fine. That makes me sad. So now we probably play Karn and wish for the land. A little weird, but I think I need the planeswalker. Great Furnace. All right, that's my turn. End of turn Bowmasters would super suck. Yep. Cannot catch a break here. So I can plus while picking off creatures, which is cool. My opponent still has some like Hydroblast style stuff in their sideboard. That sort of sucks. Yep. Now I'm going to take 3 and Karn's going to die. Yep. Oh, and there's more. You have like a Murktide too? You do. Do I see, perchance, 0 cards in hand? Do I see that? I do see that. Huh. You know, if I must, Jokulhaups. I have 2 cards in hand. My opponent has 0 cards in hand. And now this is just going to be who top decks better here. I probably have a higher percentage of land in my deck. but my opponent is probably capable of winning on fewer lands here and as cantrips to help them find their next land drops. So I imagine that we're about even overall. I would maybe say my opponent is ever so slightly favored here. But I think every turn that they miss a land drop, I become more and more favored. And if they brainstorm lock themselves, it's an absolute disaster. Yup. Okay, so that spirit guide doesn't do anything here. All right, sure. They kept their stuff this time. I don't think I want to just immediately slam an Ensnaring Bridge with this mana. I don't think that makes sense. I think I would rather naturally play Ensnaring Bridge a few turns down the line and keep this Spirit Guide so that if I get a Soul Land, I can play Chandra. Yep, this is fine. Stay the course. Hope my opponent doesn't have like Bowmaster plus Force of Will. There's the first half of the thing that I don't want to see. I'm now on a 5-turn clock. And I'm not very good at stopping that. I just have too many cards in my hand for Ensnaring Bridge to be a good defensive option. This is great. So, if I do this, this is 6 life. I think it is play Planeswalkers. I think I'm already losing to Force of Will. I think if my opponent just Force of Wills one of these 2 Planeswalkers that I play, it's very hard for me to win. So I'm going to play my better Planeswalker first. This is the one that pluses to deal damage. Yeah, there's the Force of Will Bowmaster that I said that I specifically could not really beat. So now I'm just not going to go Hellbent fast enough to beat Bowmasters. Well, how do I want to do this? I can Planeswalker in minus and I die to a flash thing. If I double in... Let's see. If I double Ensnaring Bridge, I just die to onboard cards. If I Planeswalker plus for mana, 1 Ensnaring Bridge, I'm dead to that. So I guess it is just hope my opponent has nothing. So I could plus. I'm already dead to Bowmasters as is. I could just plus, try to keep this alive, and then double Ensnaring Bridge next turn off doing this for mana. I think I'm into trying to keep the Planeswalker. I will not cast that card. Okay. My opponent had Bowmaster Force of Will, which was the worst possible thing, but they then did not have another like Bowmaster or Snapcaster to follow that up. So, we're still alive. God damn it. Yeah. So now I can't tap this Ancient Tomb to Fury away these things. I can play double Ensnaring Bridge and die. That is another disappointing loss. All right, so the hope this time is turn 2 Planeswalker and back it up with Fury. I don't think I am going to just jam Chrome Mox this turn. It would be a little sad to lose Chrome Mox to a discard spell, but I don't really know what goes under Chrome Mox yet. And seeing my opponent's first land drop will help a lot. Spirit Guide, Fable. Okay, so my opponent is a more aggressive build of what we're doing here. They're probably going to be highly favored in this matchup, but we'll do our best. So I know that I am always playing this turn, and I probably just Jokulhaups next turn afterwards. So I think that means keeping this. I'm going to get rid of this. I have to respect Broadside being an asshole and potentially just killing my creature here. And maybe I don't get to 6 mana. Life's real good if I do get to the 6 mana. But conceptually speaking, I think this is probably a pretty bad matchup for me. My opponent's deck is so much better at winning the game than mine. And they probably have better sideboard substitutions than I do, because a large portion of my resources in my sideboard are dedicated to the wish board. No immediate play. That's weird. Well, you came here to see one thing, right? This doesn't kill enchantments. That's awkward. I think I messed up my turn. Forgot about that. So we just get another Planeswalker first? think we get another planeswalker first then. So let's minus. Yes. Pick up Ensnaring Bridge. That seems like a safe pickup in case things go wrong. Pass the turn. Okay, yeah, no weird red instant nonsense there. This is now a creature, so I can blow it up with my stuff. We have an initiative creature here. What are we doing? We do. And I did not put Sarevok's Tome into my sideboard. I had considered it and then found room for some other anti-artifact stuff. Oh. Please kill Karn. Please kill Karn. Good. Yeah, this is the one that I needed. Hey, it's Karn. Mana. Jokulhaups! The people's champ. Greatest of all time. Now my opponent will get to do some other things here, but I'm hoping that I can ride my planeswalker to victory. The initiative will eventually kill me. Like, my opponent can loop through it 4 times and trap me 4 times. Like, that will do it. One of the things I said was, like, once initiative became popular, like, that was one of the things that really helped to kill prison decks. You can't, like, sit and hide behind an Ensnaring Bridge and a turtle up if your opponent can just win the game by literally taking no game actions. I would actually like to just draw a Simian Spirit Guide to poke my opponent for a small amount of damage. There's a land. So, I believe we are interested in putting Karn into play. And this is where that creature that I put into my sideboard probably matters, right? So let's pick up the Scarab Swarm. And next turn, I plus for mana, I place the Scarab Swarm. I take out a bunch of lands from their graveyard. Then I become the pretty princess. Or, sorry, it's not monarch. Then I become the king. I don't like that my opponent is thinking. That means that they have valid game actions that they can take. I imagine it's broadside and they're trying to figure out, like, what they're killing. Oh, no, that's fine. That doesn't do anything with Karn in play. Fantastic. There is a 4/1 coming. This is always mana. Yeah, this is always just happening. So we'll Scarab Swarm. I would like friends. That's a lot of friends. Am I just killing this treasure token? Keeping loyalty on Karn higher? Or is there a follow-up artifact that I really want next turn? Coding's okay. I think I'm just going to kill the treasure token, though. I don't know, coding taking out Mountain is really good. Just keeping Karn's loyalty higher could matter for other reasons. I'm just going to take a card, though. Let's pick up the coding. I don't have a red artifact that I can wish for to find a pitch card for Fury. I wonder if that's some weird thing that would make sense to do. Okay, opponent's got a big play of some kind. Throne of the Dead 3 would be annoying. 6 mana of their own. The Shatterskull Smashing, then? It is a Shatterskull Smashing for X equals 2? Sure. Feel like that was user error. Shatterskull Smashing is weird to execute on Magic Online. Yeah, so this sort of thing was why I was thinking about keeping Karn's loyalty higher, just by the way. Alright, no attack. Unlicensed Hearse is a thing. Did not draw a red card. I probably want to attack with a couple of things to take the initiative. I'm probably still plussing for mana. So I think I like leaving 3 things back. I think I am going to leave 3 tokens back. Send it. Sorry, leave 3 back. Just attack with 2. I want to be fully covered from potential attackers, even if I think things are about to go very well for me. Pick up a mountain. Go to the post-combat main phase, where I'm going to pick up some extra mana and go ahead and get rid of this skeleton token. I could maybe be more aggressive with my attacks, but, like, haste creatures are a thing. Guess I don't so much have to worry about an opposing Fury. Chalice on 0 seems fine. My mana is covered. Just going to get that card out of my hand. And then we're going to see my opponent eat something with Hearse. Probably multiple somethings. Notably, they maybe don't want to eat my artifacts, as I can fish them back with a Karn later. So this is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 damage already. So I just already kill next turn, even being more conservative with the attacks. So, Chalice bad, Trinisphere bad. This is removal. This is mana. I need this in the board. I think I need this and this in the board. And a lot of the other stuff doesn't really make sense to keep in. So it's just like, what is the least bad of these other cards? A crazy person thing to do would be put Leyline of the Void into the deck. That way it's an extra card that I can imprint under Chrome Mox. But I maybe don't have enough ways to get the Leyline out of my hand for that to be practical, and my opponent probably has 1/1 goblins in their deck off things like Goblin Rabblemaster. So, I could play a Sorcerer Spyglass for Reflection of Kiki-Jiki. That's not crazy. But then I think I'm stuck playing some Chalices or some Trinispheres. Neither's good. I think it's easier to get Chalice out of my hand. And I don't know that Trinisphere on the draw is relevant. I could just put the Canoptic Scarab Swarm into the deck. I don't know, like having a Carnival win condition I think matters. Trinisphere can get awkward with my own Ensnaring Bridges and some of the pitch cards like Furies. I think I'm going to play a couple Chalice of the Voids and just accept that they're mostly bad. Well, this is a turn 1 Karn. Ancient Tomb, Chrome Mox, put this under it, Spirit Guide. Karn into something like Ensnaring Bridge. I think this is a keep. It's a little awkward if my opponent plays a turn 1 aggressive threat. It's probably fine if they don't have the turn 1 threat. That's happening. So, does it make sense to put Chrome Mox into play? Probably. Yeah, then I can Karn next turn without taking 4 damage. I think I'm into that. I think I just have to respect that this is very much an Ensnaring Bridge matchup and work on dumping my hand. You can make an argument that this is supposed to go under instead. So now my opponent gets to play their creature before I play my Planeswalker. The Trinisphere could honestly just go to my face immediately, just for 5 damage, and I think that would be perfectly reasonable. Blood Sun, not good here. So, yeah, yes. Grab Bridge. Bridge seems like the best of all of those things. So we'll see whether my opponent ignores Karn or just like goes for my face or what is kind of happening here. Oh god. I'm basically dead. Okay, so my opponent is going to just kill my Karn this turn. I am not getting Trinisphere thrown at my face. So, I think I have to give him the hops and just clear the board. And then I have a land left over to work towards Ensnaring Bridge. I think there's a very good chance that if I let my opponent untap with all of this stuff, I just die. So, clear everything. I've made my land drop, so we're passing the turn. My hand's bad. A City of Traders would go a long way to making this actively good. We'll take that. I'm going to play that instead of Great Furnace. Please no soul land. Okay, it's not a soul land. It's another land. Like, that's very scary here. Yuri's not bad. I probably don't get 10'd in 1 turn. Okay, cool. Opponent is now stuck on land. That means they've got business in hand. But opponent is stuck on land. I have removal. So we don't want like soul land into initiative. That would be particularly bad here. Okay. I have to believe. Okay. My life total is precious. I think I play it tapped. Alright. Now my opponent can do something like a broadside. I can trade with that with Brotherhood's End. Or I could just do something like Fury, pitch a Blood Sun. Yeah, this is fine. We'll see if my opponent throws their Chrome Mox immediately. My guess is no. I think I'm just going to 8, and that's the turn. Yep. So, in the hypothetical world where I play Ensnaring Bridge and then pitch cast a Fury, I still have 3 cards in hand, so the Ensnaring Bridge isn't safe yet. I think I'm going to get this 6-drop out of my hand here, kill this creature, and start setting up Ensnaring Bridge. I don't think I am just going to immediately end this game with like a Fury attack or anything. Like, I don't think I am trying to pivot into the beatdown role. This sort of situation is where Chalice on 0 would be perfectly fine. The One Ring. That's pretty good. And like, my opponent has ways to answer Ensnaring Bridge. I'm sort of surprised that a Fiery Confluence went under there. I don't think I want to destroy all artifacts. I think this is awkward. Take a redraw moment. Land drops are perfectly fine. I'm pretty likely to get buried by the One Ring. And it happens to be indestructible, which is relevant. Trinisphere is relevant. Planeswalker is very, very, very good here. Super happy with that draw. Because not only does this just represent damage, this also represents the ability to multi-spell and get some of this crap out of my hand so that Ensnaring Bridge can actually do the Ensnaring Bridge things. Because it's not right now, right? Like, Hasty Goblin gets to swing in and kill me, right? Like, I'm just dead to a broadside. Yep, so attack me, throw for 6. I needed one more turn to get some extra stuff out of my hand. So there's 6, and this is death. Yep, so we're not out of it yet. I get one more game. But I, like, very clearly think I am on the wrong side of the matchup. No changes with sideboarding. Okay, what does this do? Turn 1 Mountain, Chrome Mox, Imprint, Jokulhaups, Chalice on 0. Turn 2 Karn for Ensnaring Bridge type stuff. That's pretty mid. I don't know that I throw it back, though. I think I keep this and hope that Karn land destruction can carry a game, or Karn Ensnaring Bridge can carry a game. Like, sometimes my opponent will keep a hand, and a Chalice on 0 will just completely keep them from playing relevant mana sources. So, yaw, away go the hops. Chalice on 0. Pass turn. The nightmare is Ancient Tomb, Spirit Guide, creature in play immediately. Ancient Tomb better than City of Traders probably here. So, yeah. This Karn will just get the Liquid Metal coating. Like, I'll take a look at everything else, but I think the plan for this one is attempt at destroying lands, and if that doesn't work, we can start looking at Ensnaring Bridge with the second Karn. Alright, do we get a free one? Because my opponent's red mana was Chrome Mox or Lotus Petal. Ooh. That's fine. We have another Karn. Super happy to get rid of a Caves of Chaos Adventurer. That is not colored mana. You have the One Ring? You may have the One Ring. That is a potential win condition for me while Karn is in play. You may draw your card. Now, which one of my opponent's lands am I blowing up? Probably the Ancient Tomb. So, yaw. Ancient Tomb's an artifact. Karn arrives. We'll plus blow up Ancient Tomb. And now the One Ring just deals my opponent 1 damage every turn, assuming that I can keep this Karn alive. I can get an Ensnaring Bridge to help protect it next turn, assuming that it's still in play. But, like, red land, broadside, attack me, throw the One Ring at Karn, I guess, is a thing that exists. Yep. Wow. That's rough. Okay, we take these. Get rid of that. I'm going to just play this as a land. I don't think I need it as a removal spell this game. I think I just would like to get Hellbent. Oh, did I just have a chance to, like, lattice kill my opponent there? And I missed it. It's very possible that I just did. Okay, so now let's go ahead and just end this one. Lattice. And let's keep my opponent from ever casting spells again. Fantastic. Note that I can just pass the turn 16 times and kill my opponent with their copy of the One Ring. But this is faster. Back for 6. 9. Play some extra things. Call it a turn. I don't know why my opponent isn't conceding. I have no idea what out they have with 0 lands in play. So there's Lattice. Attack for 6. Opponent's at 2. And I'll plus this planeswalker to kill them. Boop. Alright. I do put 1 win on the board with Jokulhaups, and we came pretty close to a few others. Alright, so let's cap off this league with just kind of some general theory and deck building lessons. Legacy decks shouldn't look like this anymore. When you think about the things that are good in Legacy right now, it's things like Grief and Reanimate It. So on turn 1, you produce a 3/2 body that's like a flipped Delver of Secrets while taking 2 of your opponent's best cards. You think about Murktide Regents that threaten to kill your opponent in, roughly 3 attack steps. You think of Broadsides that are hasties. You think of Namesticker Goblins. Oh wait, not that one anymore. But generally speaking, Legacy is a really high tempo format right now. And trying to turtle up when your opponents are capable of killing you so quickly is just not the play anymore. And I even lost games after I destroyed all of the lands and all the creatures and stuff, even though that's something that my deck is meant to do. So this sort of stuff is fun, but it's just not competitive anymore. And it doesn't do enough broken stuff. The cards that are here are not really embarrassing to play in Legacy, minus maybe like this one and this one. But the overall strategy that this deck is trying to do is so much worse than something that just kills the opponent. When you think of how quickly and how easily Oops All Spells or Beseech the Mirror combo decks can win, why are you not trying to win like they are? Why are you trying to have these 12-turn games when you can have 3 or 4-turn games, or maybe even games faster than that? So while this is near and dear to many people's hearts, even my own, I think we're kind of at the point where this sort of build has been power crept out of Legacy. They don't tend to print new, better prison pieces. They tend to print better threats. So I don't, expect that we are going to get things that make this deck better. C'est la vie. So it goes. I enjoyed it while I could, but I think this is 3 leagues in a row where we just got absolutely trashed playing this, so it's probably time to retire it. Folks, I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and should you need some cards, toamagic.com, promo code ThrabenU while you're there. Alright, see ya!